Okay, the time is 5:01. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. We will begin with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I will open the meeting up for public comment. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes per person and state your name and where you live for the record. Is there any public comment in the room? Go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Jerry Kaiser, 117 South A Street. I come here tonight, I want to ask the commissioners to put a motion on the floor directing the executive director or staff to pursue state and federal grants for repairing the existing rail system that we have. The reason for this is last week, the federal government gave $115 million to 9 municipalities here in the state of Washington for rail improvements. There's a lot of money out there that can be used to improve our existing rail and make it worth a lot more money if you do decide to sell it.
Thank you. Anybody else in the room have a public comment? Okay, anybody on Zoom have a public comment? Hearing no more public comments, we'll go right into our agenda items. Beginning with administrative items and approving the monthly minutes. Have the commissioners had an opportunity to review the October meeting minutes? Yeah. Yes, any questions or comments, revisions or changes? Okay.
None less though.
We have a motion to approve them.
Make a motion to approve the October 9th. Monthly meeting minutes.
I'll second. We have motion and second to approve the meeting minutes from October 9th meeting. Any further discussion? No, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved.
There's those for you to sign.
Okay, review the monthly budget report and approving of vouchers. Is there anything unusual in the budget?
The only thing that is large is the retainage check to 0DB for the Dayton Community Broadband Project. The state still has not, we're still waiting on a release from the Department of Revenue. We've gotten releases from L&I and Employment Security. Still waiting on Department of Revenue, but we don't want to make 0DB wait one more day than they have to, considering the state said they have 75 days to give us approval, and we're at 75 days. So we're gonna go ahead and cut the check, but we will not send it to 0DB until we get that final certificate of release. Then we are going to bug them because it has been a very long time.
Right.
The companies they're concerned. They need their money.
Yeah, we need to get paid.
So we went ahead and cut the check. That's the
Okay.
long way of saying we went ahead and cut it. We'll just hold it until we get the release. I did not see anything else unusual here. There was a big Orkin bill, but that's because we pay ahead for a year. We get a discount if we pay ahead. That's 3 properties that we serve. And then the Prolon, that is, they do annual weed control for us. They apparently just hadn't billed us until now. Because that's their bid for the year. And state auditor's office, you see there's a $12,000 bill for that. So otherwise, nothing unusual. I did bring to your attention that there are 3 different voucher sheet options, because there is that bill to the law firm that needs to be paid, or we're being asked to pay or share the cost. So I went ahead and wrote it up this way so that a check could be cut and it would have your official approval
Right.
after the meeting.
Second.
So gentlemen, with, what she referred to there is the last item on these highlighted items, which is the cost of the investigation that we went through here recently. One is for 50% of the cost and the other is for paying the cost of that in full. I had suggested that we discuss it in a meeting before making a final decision on what we wanted to do there, because I think that we need to spend a minute or two going over our options and how we want to handle that.
So from previous discussions, I believe that we talked about paying 50% of it. I make a motion that we pay 50% of the county bill for the investigation.
What are your thoughts on this, Johnny?
Well, I know that's the discussion we had on the last meeting.
Right.
Now, prior to having a discussion about this was the 50%, and I think that's fair.
I don't like it, but
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not real keen on the idea of it, you know, we haven't received a report yet on what the investigation was. I certainly
will
don't
we
think that,
receive anything? Do you know? Seth?
I believe so. I was told by the person doing the investigation that I would receive a written report. He said,
Okay.
you won't receive it today or tomorrow, but it will be coming.
Okay.
So I hadn't seen or heard anything from him
It's
since.
because it's a whistleblower, right? And I didn't know if we would be privy to any.
Right.
I can tell you, I don't have a report.
Okay.
My understanding is that a report hasn't been generated, with the expectation that I can only speculate that the reason it hasn't been generated is that the bill hasn't been paid, but I don't think that,
so-
I don't think the prosecutor's office has a report. They're not holding that.
So why hasn't the prosecutor paid the bill?
The slow process of getting the bill in front of you is, I was slow.
I would make a motion that we spend the 50%.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion on the table to pay 50% of
Which voucher do we have?
that investigation bill. Any further discussion? Those in favor, say aye. Opposed, say aye. Aye. Okay, motion passes 2-1.
And there you go for your signature.
Just me? No. Oh,
No, we all do that.
Thing we have here is the bank signer information for Banner Bank, the motion that we passed last meeting or 2 meetings ago. Everything is ready now, so this would be Commissioner Spring and Commissioner Bryan signing this. Thank you.
Okay, let's review the final budget.
Okay, so this is the same budget that was presented at the last meeting. We did not make any changes. So this is what's been posted on our website and advertised in the newspaper. The only thing I would warn, and I don't think it warrants a change, but I believe that the owner of the Columbia Pulp facility has appealed their tax assessment, and I believe that their assessment is being lowered. So I don't know, I do not know that this number for tax revenues is accurate, but we didn't get notification of that until this had already been advertised.
Okay.
So I don't think that it's worth trying to change. But I just did want you to be aware that the
Okay.
tax revenue may be lower. Otherwise, it's the same as last month. I don't know if I can describe it to the public, I guess. We've got about a $1,089,000 budget, not including grants. And that operating revenue, it's called, is from rental income from our properties and from our fiber leases. A little bit of interest income and a little bit of utility pass-through. And then we have about 2.4 million in grant funds, budgeted. Those are, some of them are known grants that we are receiving. Some of them are speculative that we won't spend unless we get it. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. We have about 176,000 a year in debt service. That is steadily going down as we pay off the investments we've made at Blue Mountain Station over time. So they're getting down there.
So at this time, we will open up for a public hearing on our 2025 budget. We're supposed to do that 5:10. We're 2 minutes late, but I guess that's pretty close. So, is there any comments or discussion on our 2025 budget from anybody in the room? Nobody in the room? Anybody online have any comments or questions about our budget for this year? Okay, well, that's the shortest public hearing ever.
Can I?
Yes.
I would like to ask if we could have our attorney hired for all of our meetings, just to be present, or her, I don't know what you call him, surrogate
Partner.
partner to be here. I believe it's within our budget and it wouldn't take a budget amendment, but just, I would like to see us have a contract that she shows up or her surrogate shows up. I don't know if I need to make a motion or just a suggestion.
Right. I would be curious to know what the cost of something like that would be.
I'd be glad to put something together so that you can make that.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a bad idea at all, but I would like to know what it would cost us.
Well, it would probably cost us less than what we just spent. Something.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get a kind of a cost and then maybe what would that look like and your availability, right? So having that discussion is probably worth going down that path and come from them.
I'll write you a letter that describes what I could be available for and what it would cost.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments, discussion by the commission on our budget?
Thanks for very professional put together, but
You're welcome. Thank you.
that's great. Do we need a motion to approve?
Yes, we will need a motion to approve the budget.
I would make a motion to approve the budget as presented.
Okay,
One second, the motion for approving the 2025 budget as written.
all right, we have a motion and a second on the table to approve the 2025 annual budget as written. Any further discussion by the commission? And all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, budget is approved.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you to sign 2 originals. We need one for our file and we have to turn 1 original into the county.
Okay.
And this is a chairman and secretary signatures. So the next one is the levy certification. Yeah.
This is it. No, levy certificate.
We have to adopt it. Yeah.
Oh,
This one here.
So there's the original. And I'll just put them back in my budget file. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I will put them back in the safe budget file. Here it is. So the levy is to certify whether or not you would be increasing the levy you know, if you did what percentage increase, so ours is 0,
Right.
but it still needs to be adopted and passed.
So we have ordinance, resolution 2024-06, RCW 84.55.120, which is a resolution, adopting the levy for this year. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Port of Columbia, that an increase of regular property tax levy is hereby authorized for the 2025 levy in the amount of 0, which is a percentage increase of 0% from the previous year. So that's what we are, have before us now, and we will be signing, so we will need a motion to approve, that resolution.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2024-06.
We have a motion to approve resolution 2024-06.
I have a hard time seconding this. Inflation is more than 1%. I know that the statement was last meeting that as long as we have a reserve, we wouldn't increase our levy rate. Our job is to help get grants and levies, not levies, grants and monies from our federal and state partners to enhance our community. You have to have a reserve to match those grants and levies. They aren't 100% grants ever. I've never got 100% grant. So you have to be able to match. And how do we match that? We match it with our monies. And those monies are in reserve normally, or generated from other sources. I will second it because I want the budget to pass. But with reserve, I think.
Well, the budget's already passed, so you don't have to second. This is just for the levy. You've already approved the budget, so you don't have to second it.
Yeah, we do. We have to certify it. So I will second it with my discussion.
So we have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 2024-06. Those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Yay.
Okay, motion passes 2-1.
3 signatures. Please.
Next, we will be approving our capital facilities plan for 2025. Is there any changes on this from the last meeting?
They're only adding the shed that we had discussed at the meeting.
Okay.
So the Blue Mountain Station storage shed in the amount of 10,000 is the only addition.
Okay. Commissioners, what are your thoughts or comments on the capital facilities plan?
Things were very well put together. And do we need to make a motion?
You do, yeah, you need
I
to
make a
adopt this.
motion to approve the capital facilities plan for 2025.
Okay.
Second motion to approve the capital facilities plan for 2025. Looks like it's in order.
Hey, we have a motion and a second to approve the capital facilities plan for 2025. If there's no further discussion, those in favor respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, facilities plan is approved. Is there anything you need to sign on that one?
You don't, no. And this one is, you know, it is, the comp plan RCW says that, you know, we don't update our comp plan every year, but you
Right.
certainly have to, the public has to know what we're gonna invest our money on. And that's why we do this one, yeah.
All right, our budget discussions are finished. Now we'll go to federal audit update.
Well, it is complete. I thought we were going to skate through with no,
Recommendation.
whatever, yeah, but, and I still don't know if we will, but today they, said they, because we were reimbursed for the retainage from our funding agencies, and then we held the retainage before we release it, and they seem to think we shouldn't have even asked for it from our funding agencies, so we'll see. They're still contemplating that, but otherwise, I was very pleased with how well it turned out. We just didn't have any big mistakes. There was one, ALN number, it's called. It's a federal identification number that was incorrect on our annual report, but that's because it was incorrect in the grant agreement. And they at first were going to give us like a management letter or one of those, and I was just like, what? You know, because it wasn't our mistake. So they finally said, no, nothing for that one. So otherwise, I think we're good. Yeah.
Good job.
And accept the retainage thing, and we'll see how that turns out. But that's not I mean, it's certainly nothing where, it's just semantics, you know,
Right.
that's what retainage is all about. You gather it and you hold it and you don't pay it until they turn in all their prevailing wage paperwork, which we're waiting on, so. But that's it. That's pretty finished. And, but I haven't gotten notification of an exit conference yet, but you all will be notified when that happens.
Okay. Excellent. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Leases.
We have 3 leases today, all renewals or new leases, but same old tenants. This one is Jordan Henderson Fine Arts, and he leases space in the co-working building. And I believe it's a 2-year lease. Is it a 2-year or is he a 1-year?
It's a 1-year.
Okay, we did increase his rent 3% because we had not done it for the last couple of years.
Okay.
So this one is increased 3%. And we have the Columbia County Hospital District that rents the building right next door, and theirs is a 2-year lease. And we did increase their rent 3% this time. And then the last one is Dayton Tractor and Machine. And theirs is a longer lease, I think, 5-year lease. And we had increased their rent last time, so we only did 3% this time. So it's 3% across the board.
Okay.
Okay. So those will be signatures, unless you have a discussion or concern. While we're signing, I'd like to bring up something that isn't listed here, which is the December meeting date. I have a vacation scheduled in December. My mother-in-law scheduled it. It wasn't I take no responsibility for doing this. And I didn't really think it'd be a big deal to be gone and just do the meeting via Zoom. Because December meetings are usually pretty light, but we are going to have the railroad appraisal presented that day. So my question to you is, do you want me to still just run the meeting via Zoom and keep it on the same date? Or shall we move it to the following week? There are other reasons to move it, also because it would just help us we like to get all the bills paid by the end of the year, so it gives us a little more time, but it's totally up to you. I just thought I'd throw it out there. We could move it to Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday the following week, which would be the 16th, 17th, or 18th. Or I can just do it via Zoom, whichever you prefer.
I would prefer getting to be here for the appraisal and closing out the year's bills. You got the busiest schedule.
Yes, Tuesdays, no, we can't do Tuesdays. But I can move it around. I'm gonna be out of town a little bit, so I may be on Zoom for it.
Well,
If we go Wednesday,
would you rather be here? I said that the 16th is a Monday, 17th is a Tuesday, 18th is a Wednesday.
Yeah, without my calendar right in front of me, I was like, okay. Zoom's fine with me, for that, so,
Yeah, but do you think we should move it so Jenny can be here?
oh, I have no problem with moving it to accommodate what needs are. And,
Yeah, we can move it. I have no issue with that.
I just can't do Tuesdays,
Okay.
Zoom or live.
So maybe we could do the 18th, maybe Wednesday. You wanna get back to?
Postpone it a week.
Yeah, just a week.
Yeah, I can make that happen.
Okay.
If there's something that I'm not seeing right out of my crystal ball, I will let you know.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
And by tomorrow, so. I
Great,
can let you know.
great. Thank you. That is good. I appreciate that. Okay, that's it for that
Okay,
section.
update on port assets, starting with Rock Hill Industrial Park, please.
Okay, so we will move into our discussion with Josh. We have a request from Cannon River Construction to purchase a lot, Lot V in the Rock Hill Industrial Park. It is adjacent to the TEMA building. And Josh sent in your packets, I put in the resume and letter he wrote. So I just thought we should talk about whether or not you're interested in that, and Josh is here, so we can hear from him a little bit about his business proposal and what he'd like to do with the lot.
Mhm.
And then I made a list of just different things we could discuss that should be considered before we, kind of like we did with the other
Right.
business and before we made a decision. And so Josh, you want to tell us about what you got planned?
Yeah, what I would like to do is purchase that lot. Right now, my excavation company operates out of my shop on my property. And it's just growing. So we'd like to keep growing and I need a place to do that at. And just kind of looking at that property, it looks like it would be perfect. What I'd like to do is purchase it, fence it, get utilities put in there, and within the next couple of years, have a shop put on it. My thought for the shop would be, it would match the Columbia Transportation Building. The same, we'd keep the same colors.
Right.
And that's what I'd like to do. We'd like to have that done by spring if possible. I don't know how any of that works, but that's what I'm proposing. That's what I'd like to do. It'll be clean, it'll look really nice. We don't have a bunch of junk. I think you guys would be pleased with what we did with it.
Okay. Thank you, cool.
Would it be a privacy fence or just a fence that you could see through?
It would be just a 6-foot chain link fence. Yeah.
Okay,
Like what's around the other.
Yes, sir.
lots there.
More for like security, so you
Exactly.
can lock it up
Okay.
at night and stuff
Yeah,
like.
we'll just have our trucks, business vehicles. Our office, just dump trucks, excavators, just, nothing crazy. We don't have a bunch of stuff. It's not gonna be a junkyard.
Right.
So,
That would be my only concern, is it doesn't turn into, a bunch of broken down equipment and oil spilled here and
We have-
parts piled up in the back.
we have very nice equipment.
and how many employees do you have?
4.
4, okay. And what does your construction company do?
We do concrete and excavation. We try to stick with mostly government contracts. We do a lot of work in Pomeroy, Clarkston, and Walla Walla.
Mhm.
Concrete, pipe work, grading.
Heavy equipment
Yes.
operation.
We
And your 4 employees, they're local here right now?
Yes.
Currently? Okay.
We're on.
Sounds like good.
I think it sounds like a good, great idea. It would have to, of course, align with our comprehensive plan.
Mhm.
I don't see how it wouldn't necessarily,
That's it.
Yeah, I think so. For the industrial park, yeah, I would say it does. Because it employs people and,
yeah. I think
Is it-
zoning-
is it
zoning
service?
would-
yeah, it fits the zone. He did ask about, a possibility of having an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit behind it. So, I asked him to follow up with the city, make sure that was allowed. And the city planner does say it is allowed in the fringe commercial zone, because that's the zoning there. It's just something we should probably consider, if you remember before, we had our resolution and we had a lot of, I don't know if you want to call them conditions or you know,
Right.
basically conditions for the sale. And so the planner said that it has to be considered an accessory use. It can't be, he cannot buy a lot and put an ADU on it and rent it out.
Right.
It has to have a commercial business operating on the site for somebody to be in the ADU.
So would they
So-
do, is it like office type or somebody living in? the
It would, I don't have any plans as of right now. It was just a question for future.
Okay,
Whether an employee wanted to live there or, you know, I don't have any plans. I don't have any plans to rent it out. You know, it's just a question, just for future.
Right.
Yeah, so that was all the planner said, is that we should probably make that a condition. And in our other, when we were considering the meat processing plant, in our art resolution, we wrote that we would want to make sure that permits were available through the city. His business is much easier to permit than that one was, so that one's pretty easy. Keep the premises in good order. Have a green strip in front that kind of matches the other, like in front of transportation, there's a little planting area, because there is a 20-foot utility easement in the front of that lot. The ADU, we had a 1-year clawback in the other resolution, that if he did not take action, if the buyer didn't take action within a year, that the sale was, that we could take the sale back. We had written in it that the buyer would seek approval from the port on the fence and how it looked. And then one thing that we did not put in the other resolution that was an error is that the resolution should expire at some point. It doesn't mean that that lot is available to that person in perpetuity if they
Right.
don't exercise the option. So that is something that we should make sure we add this time.
You need to make a motion to
I
set
don't-
you forward on negotiating it.
I suppose that wouldn't hurt, because I will need to prepare a resolution. We will not need to have a purchase and sale agreement. And we probably at the next meeting need to make it, make sure the public has an opportunity to comment if they want. Isn't that correct, Kim? Did we actually have a comment period last time? Or did people just come and comment? I don't remember if a comment
I don't
period was
remember.
required.
I'm pretty sure we do.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So we just need to, and that's why it's nice that he doesn't, originally he said it needed to be done by the end of the year, and I was like. So the fact that we can have till March to do it, we could have a comment period at the next meeting or even January and then have
Right.
it done by
Are you
March.
good with that?
I would absolutely.
Okay.
Am I recalling correctly that you had to have a market value?
We do, but this is the same lot we had one on.
Right.
So this was my thought. We did an appraisal that was completed at the end of 2023 and a market analysis that was completed in January. Oh, wait a minute. No, this says 22, January of 2020. That's not the right date. It was 2024. It was not that, was 2022? Was it? Okay.
It wasn't this spring.
Okay, I'm mistaken. Anyway, I just don't know. I mean, that's a lot of money to have it reappraised.
Mhm.
So my thought was that maybe these appraisals would work. And I think that we're allowed by law to ask for 10% over appraised value. If we average the appraisals. Because the market appraisal was 55, the appraisal was 61, average is 58. If you add 10%, it's 63,800. So, Madam Attorney, since you happen to be here, what do you think of using a 2-year-old appraisal?
I don't think it's a good idea.
Oh, you don't?
I do not. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Property values change substantially. If you had this, you could ask for a professional who has qualifications to tell you whether or not that's still a valid analysis, but
Or you may even be
It's
able
just
to ask
stale.
the appraiser for an amendment of it.
Okay.
I mean, the point of the appraisal is a
Right,
current sales.
right.
There haven't been probably many comparable sales in the last 12 months. So if that were the response, that there are no updated sales, that would inform it. But
Okay.
no, that's actually a stale.
Maybe that, but it is a good point that maybe they could, if it's the same company that's just revisit, they don't have to come and look at it. I mean, they know what it looks like. They've got the maps, they've got the data.
They could
Maybe
just
it could
look
be
at-
less expensive, because it was $7,000.
Oh,
Right. Yeah, it'd be nice not to have to done that again for either of us.
Absolutely.
Again, to keep us out of a jam.
yeah.
Yeah, okay,
It's probably money well spent if whatever avenue we gotta go with that.
okay. So Josh, our policy states that if we have it, if somebody asks to buy property and we have it appraised, that the requesting party pays half.
Understood.
Okay,
But we will try to get it to where,
it's not
It's
$7,000.
economical.
And then the other one was a market analysis that a realtor did that they didn't charge us, so that was nice. I'll ask her if she'll do it again. 2022, yeah,
So
yes, it has
do we
been.
need a motion for Jenny to move forward? Or do we just need
I would say we have,
comment?
and we can move forward and say, okay, we gotta look at we have some questions.
Yeah.
You know, is that gonna be viable? Can they take another peek at this with the current market value? Is this accurate? Does it need adjusted? What that looks like?
Right.
And then the same with the resolution with, kind of the same bullet list that you just went down, kind of seeing what that looks like officially. Type deal. But yeah, I'm in favor of moving
Yeah,
forward.
I am too.
And with the bureaucracy of how it works, we're talking March.
We have to work,
So that might,
we have to work hard to get.
that date might get moved a little bit
That doesn't matter to me.
to make sure that we cross the Ts and dot the Is.
Yeah, I was just thinking it would be nice to get it closed. That way I could at least get the fence up before my spring season starts.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess my point is traveling through all the avenues that we need to make sure that we do it, with
Right.
Book of Hoyle. That might move a little bit. Hopefully not. Hopefully we can streamline it if that's the direction we decide to go, but I definitely think we need to pull the package together,
Mhm.
bring it to us.
Okay,
You good with direction?
Yep.
All right.
got it.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
guys. Appreciate
thank you
it.
for coming.
Yep, see ya.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for being interested in, development of that.
Yeah.
That's what we need in this
Keep-
county.
Keeping employment here.
Have a good night. Have a good night.
You too.
And the only other Rock Hill news is that I think we have an estimate for having it graded again, right? Don't we? Yeah,
It just came in, but I haven't had a chance really. to
yeah.
talk
So
to
we're gonna work on, because they didn't ever grade in the spring.
yeah.
We're gonna try to do it this fall. It's not the optimal time, but with the soil as wet as it is, it's better than
Yeah.
it was. So try to do some grading.
Okay, how about Lansbury Marina?
We are starting annual management planning, so I have an appointment with the concessionaires tomorrow. They're coming in here and we'll start all of that lovely Corps of Engineers stuff.
Mhm.
We did get one good piece of news. They have an electrical certification that is required every year at the marina, and we've been waiting for 5 years from an answer from the Corps of Engineers on, because the way it's written, it makes it sound like you have to upgrade your electrical every year to meet code.
Mhm.
And that's not financially feasible.
Right.
So we finally got in writing that, no, it doesn't mean you have to update every year. It just means that we have to have an electrician come and look at it and fix any safety issues, but then they can just state that it was up to code when it was installed. So just took 5 years to get that one. So, and RCO, I have no RCO grant update other than I don't know that this is gonna be a very lucrative legislative session at the state level this year. It's not what I'm being told, so I don't know that there would be any additional funds allocated. I guess we could, the other hope is, it's hard to say that's a hope, but if some of the other projects that were funded don't move forward, then there would be money available. So we're still in a holding pattern on that.
Right.
And I think that's it.
Okay. Blue Mountain Station.
Okay, so the SEPA comment period for the craft malt building will be complete tomorrow. The architects and engineers are finalizing a budget and scope of work that has to be turned into Curb. All other pre-contract materials are complete. So we should be getting, sending it all to the state, early next week to Curb. And then we'll get our contract with them and we can start spending money on the architecture and engineering work.
Great.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Yep, it is moving. Yeah, it's, Phil needed to come up with his share of the match for that and he did so. So
Mhm.
we can
Cool.
move forward and get to the point where we'll have engineered drawings that he can use for his financing. And then Jill and I have been working with a pasta business. It seems to have a lot of promise for locating here. We're working on a funding application with them this week.
Mhm.
And I don't remember how many employees they have. Did he say? I don't recall, but they would like to expand. They are currently operating in Portland and things are quite expensive for them there. And they would like to, they have a regular pasta line and they make some gluten-free. They said they cannot make enough gluten-free to meet the demand, so they would like to expand their gluten-free line and also expand into olive oil and, oh, jams and jellies, that's right, jams and jellies. So it's been very promising, so cross your fingers that they got our information from, because of the grain cluster survey that had been sent out and Jill communicated with them, so
Mhm.
good job, Jill, bringing them in, and now we're trying to close the deal.
Very good.
Yeah. I don't think is there anything else on that? Okay, I think that's it.
Okay, CWW Railroad.
They came and did the line inspection, the appraisers, so that is complete, the in-person physical line inspection. And they are prepared to do the presentation in December, like I mentioned earlier, so. We will hear what they have to say then,
Okay,
and they'll be on Zoom.
okay.
Yeah.
Right. And how about broadband?
We're just waiting for the LNI release for both projects.
Okay.
Hoping to get the Blue Mountain Tells retainage check cut in December, so they also don't have to wait any longer. That's it. I did mention that, Spectrum had asked about tearing up the industrial park and adding a customer, and so I talked to the tenant and they understand that that doesn't make sense at all.
Right.
As of our last, billing, we haven't lost any customers to Spectrum yet. They're out pushing, calling everybody,
Good deal.
offering good deals, so we'll see what happens.
Can I back up to the railroad? I don't know if the three of us have expressed to Jenny to pursue grants, availability of money to improve our railroad.
Well, the rail operator has said that he would, one of the reasons because I have written many grants for the railroad over the
Right.
years. But the rail operator has most recently told me they would be
But
looking for
last
grants, so,
meeting
yeah, I'm
that
just
he-
letting you know that that's why I
But the last
haven't
meeting he was here said he hasn't been,
been, yeah.
and I would like us to pursue all grants that are available to make our railroad as well as it can be. And I don't know that that's been directed to Jenny to pursue those grants and that are available or not available. I mean, I don't know it's available, but if we don't explore it as a port, then how do we know whether we could be getting our railroad fixed up or not? And I'm just saying, I think the three of us should say, explore what's available. Not apply for it or whatever, but then bring that back to us and say, these are the grants available and.
Yeah, I think that was part of
Yeah.
the conversation with the first comment,
Right.
Today. Correct?
Right.
So I got a notes on there, want to finish up what we're doing here, and yeah, absolutely. Regardless of where we're at with it, I want a viable railroad.
So do I.
So that's the ultimate goal.
Exactly.
Is a viable railroad. Seeing what's out there, taking a look at things, what options are available, what that looks like. absolutely.
Okay.
It is, and I look at the other thing, but I don't want it to bog you down, finishing up with what, kind of what's in the hopper, what we got going, but yeah, on the
Okay.
agenda at some point, yeah, start looking at some of those availabilities.
Oh, yeah, it's important to keep our options open. I mean, we don't future hold that, you know, whether this appraisal is gonna be, if the sale is gonna go through or not, and whichever way it goes, like I said, we need to have a viable operating railroad. So, it would be nice to know what is available and what kind of things are coming down the pipeline. So,
I know we don't have a budget to fix it.
Nope, we don't.
We don't.
Yeah, there is a lot of money out there. I think that, I think that some of these federal grants are really big. I don't know how, I would need to look into it more to figure out how it gets done. I think they're pretty hard. But it doesn't mean it's not possible, and it doesn't mean that, there couldn't be partnerships with other entities. I suspect that's how some of this state money has come through, is that partners have worked together on those big grants to get them to come to the state. Yeah.
May I make a comment real quick?
Mhm.
The federal government, FRA in Vancouver on their website shows they have over $1 billion for rail improvement in the form of grants and loans. So unfortunately, the applications have to be submitted in Vancouver by December 14th by 11:59.
Oh, this year?
That's not gonna.
Are they just annual, are they once a year? Yeah, I looked up the Chrissy grant and it's not even open right now.
You look up under FRA.
Yeah,
So
I wonder if they're different. I don't know.
Okay, that, sorry.
Thank you.
Just side.
Okay. Oh, we do broadband, so now we'll go on to. Well, I guess before we go on, was there anything in this lease that we needed to talk about or you let us know about?
Just the general idea is that because this business is putting a lot of their own money into this facility
Right.
that has to be considered a public facility and a port facility.
Mhm.
And so they would like an option to purchase the building.
Okay, right.
So this has, and they need to use this lease as the leasehold interest as collateral
Mhm.
for a loan. Lions Ferry Marina, it's very similar. Those concessionaires have used their leasehold interest for loans, like when they put in the cabins and things like that.
Right.
That leasehold interest has value. So that's why we're working on this so far ahead of time,
Mhm.
because that is what he's going to need. So it has the leasehold interest discussion in it, and it has the option to purchase, in which we listed out how the price would be determined, would be the appraisals, because we have to do appraisals,
Right.
minus,
What page?
I'm trying to find it,
Automobile.
notice of lease. No, I'm trying to find the section on the Kim. Do you have it memorized? Here it is, page 21. The option to purchase. So the purchase price would be the appraisal, so there has to be two appraisals,
Mhm.
MIA certified and run through a realtor's market analysis. And then we would subtract. They would receive credit against the purchase price for payments made by the tenant during the construction of the building.
Right.
So the actual dollars they put in the public facility would be credited against the
Right,
purchase
not
price.
their equipment.
Not the
they have
rent,
money into
not the
or
rent,
money itself.
Not the rent.
Yeah,
The rent has to be used to pay back the debt on the
Yeah,
building,
but the actual capital investment.
the actual capital investment. So I think those were the two critical things.
Mhm.
Otherwise, this is just a behemoth of a lease compared to our usuals, Kim.
I have taken so much heat about big leases lately. It feels like, yeah.
Good job.
But anyway, that's really all. I
Did you
just-
understand everything in that lease?
Yeah.
It was wordy, but did
Yes.
you, okay,
Yep.
then,
I did.
Yeah,
that's always a goal.
yeah. So I just wanted you all to see it way ahead of time
Right.
because now Phil has it. He's reviewing it with his attorney. His finance company will review it. I'm sure there will be negotiations and back and forth with the attorneys, but you've seen the gist of it.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, I hadn't brought that up when we were talking.
Shall
about
I
it.
explain the difference, the idea of a triple net? Do you remember when I talked about the triple net?
Correct, that I said I didn't want it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you can, but, that she brought up the idea of triple net lease, which is where the tenant pays all maintenance, all taxes. What's the
So
other one?
basically,
Insurance.
Insurance.
Yeah.
Yes.
essentially you have your base rent. And then at certain periods, end of the year, quarterly, whatever you choose, all of the monies that the landlord has spent on the property gets billed through to the tenant. And you don't do that with anything else.
No.
But this would be a possibility, but it is not in this lease.
Okay.
The expenses that are passed through to the tenant in this lease are similar to what you pass through to tenants in other leases and not additional things because, so it,
Well, in the private sector uses triple net leases far more than we would. We don't, we wouldn't. You know, they pay us leasehold tax that we send on to the state. But the actual cost spent on that structure, we have so many shared services and things that we do on behalf of the businesses. And some businesses are more established than others and more able to pay something like that than others. And so when I started at this port, none of the leases were triple net and I have never even
and I'm not
considered
suggesting
changing
that
it.
they should be. I'm just making sure that the conversation is had.
Yeah.
What's the value? What would be the added value for a triple net?
That it would be all pass through expense so that the port would have really no financial
Oh,
well,
I
you'd
see.
have out of pocket, but it would be reimbursed. So it'd be a cycle. I
But yeah,
mean, that's,
the goal of the port is to enhance
Yeah.
businesses to come here, right?
right, you're right. It's an
So-
economic engine and
Right.
that's part of your thought process.
Right.
But I think that I don't disagree that it's okay to not do a triple net. I just want you to understand that it is a
That there's
possibility
available.
to reach.
It's an option.
All right, thank you for going back and discussing that with us.
No problem.
We'll go ahead and go on now to community and economic development, starting with staff reports.
Okay, so I've been doing a lot of legislative meetings with the WPPA, especially because I'm chair of the environmental committee. That's where I learned about this, what they think the legislative session will be like this year. 105 days, it's a long session. But they are forecasting a budget shortfall and there will be a lot of new people in the legislature, so they're not, it doesn't mean that people won't be asking for money, but they're thinking it'll probably be more of a environment in which there will be cuts made rather than new programs added. We've had a meeting with Columbia iConnect and talking about just further expansions in the county. They are interested. So we're still working on that idea. The three of us went to the Small Ports Conference, so I have my agenda here. The biggest thing of interest that came out of that was I was asked to do a comp plan presentation, so I did that and then the WPPA announced that there is a new, I don't even know if it's new, but there is a addition to the law, the state law that says we have to have a transportation element in our comp plan, almost like a whole separate section about transportation, if you have any transportation related assets, which we do, we have a railroad. So they promised that they were going to help us learn how to write that section. Chris Herman was there.
Mhm.
So I thought that was so funny. We were all taken by surprise that
Yeah.
that there was a new requirement,
So
so.
drove to get here, does that count? No?
I don't know. And then they had some sessions on grants. They talked about the WPPA is doing a strategic plan. I think our dues are going up this year. They were talking about sending out an email today. They're trying to make sure they're sustainable into the future. There was, let's see, yeah, then they had Curb made a presentation. There were other grant funding sessions. And then they had a trivia throwdown at the end, which our team did not win.
Oh, it's super hard.
It's super hard.
Young people.
Anyway, do you guys have any thoughts from that you wanted to share?
That's fine. That's good. Good,
Yeah.
interesting.
It's always good to go. Okay, and then, we did the Main Street trick or treat. I already told you about that. Jill and I did that. And today I attended a regional tourism meeting in Walla Walla. They are working on a brand for the region. And Visit Walla Walla is being really good about including all the outlying areas and really trying to help promote our communities. So that is really encouraging.
Mhm.
So it was a good meeting. They've hired a consultant and they visited Dayton yesterday. We didn't know they were coming. And it was a holiday, but they went, up and down Main Street and they were looking in the windows at the theater. And, Michelle, the manager, saw them and invited them in and gave them a tour. And they were having a practice for the musical and she invited them to stay. But anyway, they were so impressed with the theater and how friendly people were, both here and in Waitsburg. So that was really good, because nobody knew they were coming. So it was
Right.
just like, people were nice without knowing they were somebody they should be nice
They
to.
were.
That is always encouraging. So I think that's it for me.
Okay.
I'll let Jill report.
Okay. So even though it feels like so long ago, we have not had a meeting since, we had our flea market. So I just thought I'd give a brief report. We ended up having 23 vendors. And still super positive, definitely lower attendance, which we think might be with the beginning of
It was the first day of deer season.
so I think that timing may have. Like,
I don't think we'll do
lowered
that.
attendance a little bit, but still super positive from all the vendors. I didn't really hear any complaints about business or traffic or anything, so it's still really good. As Jenny mentioned, we're working with that pasta business. They've been super positive and I think there's real hope in them locating. It's just they gotta pull all their pieces together and get over there. And then with the grain cluster, I recently attended, it was an artisan grain roundtable on marketing solutions. And it actually had a lot of good partners that we've already met with previously and some new ones. So I've gotten some emails on people who want to follow up with the project, because I kept plugging the project. It was like a 3-hour webinar and I kept being like, grain cluster, grain cluster. I'm beginning to work with students at Whitman University. There is a geographical information systems class, and the students in that class have to do an independent project. So some of the students are interested in helping us with our recreation map that we want to do. So it's going to be 2 of the students out of that class, their independent project for the class. And then obviously we're working on SEDS, that's coming up at the beginning of next month. And then also just starting to work on trying to coordinate some workshops for the winter for businesses. And that's it for me.
All right, excellent. Thank you.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have anything on housing?
I feel like
We don't have.
we had something. I feel like we had a presentation of some sort, but it's escaping me, so I'm gonna have to say no.
Oh, we had
Oh,
the,
we have.
what?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Cute.
yeah.
Yeah, it's at our steering committee meeting. We had a gentleman that does research for what was the name of the Washington State Real Estate?
Washington Center for Real Estate Research.
Washington Center for
I think
Real
so.
Estate Research, because our housing prices have decreased over the last year, and it was the biggest decrease in the state. And we are now considered affordable again. And so we were having discussions about, because it doesn't feel that way here,
Yeah.
at all. It doesn't feel that way. But, so we were having discussions about we're such a small cohort that, if you have one house, a couple of fixer uppers sell for $65,000, then you're median price has gone down, and then the next quarter, you'll have a house sell for 700,000, and so, but we are one of the affordable we are one of the few counties in the state that is still considered to have affordable housing, so. It was interesting, yeah. Did I capture that correctly? Did you guys hear anything else? Okay.
He insisted that our statistics were so low,
Yeah.
like you said.
Yeah.
That 1 month compared to another could be
It's hard,
completely whacked.
Well, it's like if we have one teenager get pregnant in the high school age, then we have the highest pregnancy rate in the state,
Yeah.
because we have so few students. I've seen that before too.
I think I did recently hear that we are the most affordable county for housing in the state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what he was saying, yeah, which flies in the face of a little bit of the highest cost of, remember the highest cost of living?
Yes,
That came
yeah.
out of the Crane cluster study,
right.
but that considers food, transportation, things that we know the food here is more
Mhm.
expensive. We know people have to travel further for work,
Mhm.
so. Yeah,
I listened into this same guy. And yes, he said the sample was so small in Columbia County as to make it, you can't really draw any conclusions.
Yeah.
I pointed out to him a demographic study that I had done concerning aging and long-term care. Garfield and Columbia County have by far the highest percentage of people over the age of 65, like 35%. The more populous counties, Benton County, Franklin County, et cetera, it's 10%. So that has to have some effect on housing as well.
mhm.
When we all die, then there'll be a lot of available housing.
Don't put that out there.
Sorry, we're all gonna die.
We all.
It's not a new thing.
Well, before we make it that far, why don't you go ahead and give us a Dayton Development Task Force update?
Sorry. Gloom and doom, sorry. Holy smokes, there was a lot of the same. I circled a couple of things. Ken runs our facade grant. There was 5 grants awarded this year. I think we actually had to kind of do a little budget shifting to make sure there was enough money for the facade grants, which I think is great.
Mhm.
Our Oktoberfest was fantastic. Upcoming, we have the Christmas kickoff coming up and really excited about that. I'm trying to look.
Well, and there's ladies' night out,
Ladies' night out.
and then actually we're planning what are we calling it? Guys' night out? We're trying to also have a guys' night out. Years ago, we had a guys' night out, so we think that's.
Not the same day as the girl.
No, see, the girls go first and they fill out their wish lists at all the local stores, and then the guys can just go and ask for their wish list and. See this strategy?
But there's
So-
no jewelry store.
They're still working on the shade over the playground at the.
Caboose Park,
Yeah.
Caboose, yeah.
Caboose, not Caboose. Flower baskets all got down, signs, all our winter wonderland sign
Banners.
sorry,
Yep.
are up. I really don't have a lot of more information unless you guys remember something outstanding.
Well, the task force is is planning for another town meeting. What were you calling it?
Refresh.
Yeah, like a town meeting, refresh meeting sometime in the winter,
April.
April, okay, in April.
That brings community members in to set direction for the task force.
Mhm.
And hopefully for us and
Mhm.
city council and county commissioners. Give some input from all of our citizens.
That was one of the recommendations when some folks from the state Main Street program came
Mhm.
and just revisited everything our task force has done, but they just said they thought it was time for the town to do it again. It's
Oh, yeah.
been 40 years.
42 years.
Yeah, it's been 40 years. Mhm.
That's my report.
All right, thank you, Mike. Well, that brings us to the end of our agenda. At this time, we will go ahead and open it up for final public comment period. Please limit to 1 minute per person. Any public comment in the room? Last chance. Okay, going to Zoom. Any public comment on Zoom?
I got something real quick. January 18th, is that what, the meeting?
Yes.
Mhm. Yes.
18th? I'm
Yes.
really
Oh, you are?
available.
Okay, great.
And I should have my butt in the chair, but if not, I'm still, it sounds like I'm available.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. If the commissioners don't have anything else,
No.
then it's 6:07 and we'll call this meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
When the guys have the night out, can they write a wish list? I'm
Well, you're
confused.